All right, that's right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here, and we are going over the Moon Knight trailer, doing a shot-by-shot breakdown. I was a stupid person and sent Dragon the link to the trailer instead of the link to this stream. So he will be just a minute, but I wanted to get things started right on time. That was my mistake. I just noticed we absolutely have people waiting in the comments. So, in Donovan Martin's words, let's go. Also, we have that guy. And Aid March says, evening, everyone. So, happy to have you all on board. Hopefully, Dragon will be here soon because he's the one running the stream. All right. Dragon, how you doing, buddy?
On the right side of the dirt, Tiki.
Dragon, can you pull up a screen share for the trailer? I just we had a lot of people waiting, and I know it was my mistake to send you the trailer, so my bad.
And I see you used that time wisely to not change the color of the banner.
I did change. The color of the banner is gray and white. I thought that would be appropriate.
What it's a Disney Plus show.
I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments? I think gray and white works. I mean, look at the logo, for God's sakes. All right, Dragon, can you just get the screen share up? I'm sorry.
I'm working on it. I'm sorry it's not ready, folks. Somebody didn't check their messages.
I know. Oh, a little inside baseball. So how are we all feeling about the trailer, folks? We got Donovan Martin, we got Aid March, and we got that guy in the comments. Let's see. That guy says, I wish Moon Knight was a professor so we could call him the Nutty Professor. Is that you, Dragon?
Yeah, I also have the image up, Tiki. So
okay,
yes,
cool.
It should be. Yeah, that's us. That's me, yes.
And Donovan says, it's different in the best of ways. I can't wait. Dragon, how did you feel about the Moon Knight trailer?
Right. Yeah, I think this was a solid sales pitch of a Marvel hero with dissociative identity disorder, being thrown into the supernatural part of the MCU. Where I think my prediction for this show, best case scenario, what I think it's going for is it's going to be a bridging device between the street level, kind of MCU Disney Plus shows and kind of the Blade direction of things. The Werewolf by Night and the Blade of it all, kind of our darker, kind of more horror, supernatural, kind of the area we're starting to branch off into with the MCU via Blade. So I think this is going to be kind of the middle ground between the two in an interesting way. That's kind of the vibe I got from the trailer.
Yeah, I like the trailer quite a lot. I'm going to go ahead and be a music nerd here and say I really appreciated the Kid Cudi Needle Drop. Dragon, I'm sure you're not familiar with the song, but did you at least think the song worked in the context of the trailer?
I mean, that day and night going on, I thought was appropriate, just based on that, I guess. With the moon night of it all. I mean, I don't really care, but
Hold the phone, Dragon. Hold the phone, and he's getting a phone call. Oh my God, it syncs up so well. It's like the Wizard of Oz and Dark Side of the Moon. All right, no, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's see. That guy says, honestly, I really enjoyed the trailer. I'm really hoping this is the best MCU show so far. Indeed. All right, happy to have you all on board. I enjoyed the trailer quite a bit as well. Like I said, I am a big Kid Cudi fan. It honestly brought me back, man, because Kid Cudi is it makes me feel old to say this, but he's kind of old school at this point. He was dropping shit and this is a song from I think 2008. So yeah. So I enjoyed it. I don't know a lot about the character. Jacob Gulliver is here in all our hearts. He is unfortunately not feeling well. I'm sure we'll get him on to talk about Moon Knight. Honestly, Dragon, he might want to just do every single episode with us. We might have Gulliver on for a whole season if we're lucky with this one, because I know how excited he is for this. But before we go, we have to, or before we get to the trailer, we have to mention Super Billy. Happy to have you on board tonight. He says, I'm really excited for this. Love the character. The conceit of the trailer is fantastic. And that's what worries me. I'm so tired of Phase 4 consistently disappointing. Yeah, it's funny because Phase 4, I very much enjoyed everything that's come out of Phase 4. Everything has some merit to it. But I feel like besides No Way Home, everything also kind of there's like that one asterisk that keeps it from being like truly great. So
I wouldn't say disappointing, but I would say Phase 4 is for sure had the rockiest kind of start that they haven't been able to fully shake off yet in the MCU of the phases. So Phase 4 has been rocky, no question, and rocky. Well, hopefully building to the Thing. Otherwise, it's gonna be rocky for where's the payoff? I mean, come on.
Okay, Super Billy says on another note, isn't it a coincidence that the second Marvel character Oscar Isaac plays also has the ancient Egyptian theme? Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that is.
Well, I forget. Doesn't Oscar Isaacs have isn't he like Egyptian or something like that? Isn't that?
It could be. I don't want to speak for it.
Well, nor do I. I'm just saying. I believe that's why they got him for Apocalypse in the first place, and I assume that I don't know if that factored into this decision or not, because people like Oscar Isaac is really good, folks. I mean, it's kind of cool when he pops up and things, and the fact we're giving him like a really meaty character in Marvel Comics to kind of play with here. This is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, Oscar Isaacs is definitely morphed into one of the more exciting actors of this generation. I think that's fair to say. And I'm definitely excited about it for sure. It's just a lot of potential for a great actor to just like really sink his teeth into something. Yeah. So in the comments, we're getting a lot of praise for the poster. He says, that guy says it's really cool. The poster is really cool, which is fun to see an actual cool MCU poster. Yeah, I agree. MCU posters as of late have not been great.
Well, to be fair, that's always kind of been a problem with the MCU and their posters. So rarely do they actually have a real one that's not photoshopped and one that actually looks really good.
And then that guy says, Super Billy says, that guy, the poster is uncharacteristically ominous and gritty / bloody. And I don't know about bloody, but definitely.
Well, no, we're kind of covering up the blood right now, like on the edge of like the little kind of like.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there's a little bit of blood there. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how. I don't think it's going to be an excessive amount of blood, but I think the main takeaway is like Moon Knight so far out of all the Disney Plus series. I mean, Hawkeye being kind of the first, for obvious reasons, to kind of get us to this place, but Moon Knight definitely getting us back into that Marvel Netflix swing if we're lucky. Maybe it's going to kind of bridge that line, and then of course you have She-Hulk coming up. So these are the shows I'm really excited for. We're going to get us back to let's see if Disney Plus can compete with the Marvel.
Yeah,
Netflix.
Super Billy says Oscar Isaacs is Guatemalan. That makes sense.
Oh, okay, there you go.
All right, so Dragon, without further ado, folks, I'm sure we'll have more comments to address along the way, but Dragon, why don't you go ahead and pull up that screen share on the trailer and we'll get going.
Okay. All right, we ready?
Yeah, you have the captions on? Yeah, I see you. Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna trust that you're gonna read out those comments.
I will keep an eye on the comments. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I like that the scrolling text goes exactly across the bars on the screen. That's fun.
Right.
All right, so one thing I have to go ahead and pause really quick. So what do you think of the accent, Dragon? We have to bring up the accent.
Okay, so I want to make this clear too. I assume this is the same for you. Tiki, I know the bare minimum about Moon Knight. I don't know a lot about him. I know the bare minimum about Moon Knight.
Right. I'm not Jacob Gulliver. Wish that Jacob Gulliver were here.
Gulliver knows everything. Gulliver knows about everything about
Moon Knight. Yeah, he knows Moon Knight like the back of his hand. He knows Moon Knight like Batman, I'm assuming.
Yes, I'm assuming you know nothing of Moon Knight. I know just like
nada. I know like the very, very basic premise from what we've seen in this trailer, and like that's it.
I know maybe just like a very skosh more than the trailer, and that's about it. Just a little.
Right.
So here's what with that little. Here's what I know.
Okay.
So Moon Knight, again, he suffered. The big sell with the character is that he suffers from DID, and it's kind of like Split. It's kind of like Split meets kind of a Batman level vigilante. It's kind of
right.
Now, with the personalities, he has up to 4 at a minimum. I think he has up to 4 personalities, and primarily what we're doing here is given like they call him Steven or Stevie and everything. So he had a personality by the name of Steve Grant. So Steve Grant is what I'm pretty sure, because he's speaking in this accent when he's talking to other people as Steve. I think what we're doing, Tiki, and I think it's a really cool idea if this is what they're doing. I think we're being introduced into the world of Moon Knight through one of the identities. So not the main guy.
Super Billy and that guy says they're both on board with you on that theory.
So this is
the American girl contacting him and his multiple personality disorder, says Super Billy.
Yeah, the girl on the phone calls him by his actual name. T. Mark Spector is Moon Knight, and the idea he has like all these 4 other names, and Stephen Grant is traditionally. I think what they're doing here, by the way, I wonder how the folks feel about this. So, way I remember it, Steve Grant was the Bruce Wayne personality. Essentially, he was the billionaire kind of philanthropist type, and it seems just given the fact he's kind of in a really seemingly a humble apartment, just kind of tossing the Rubik's cube around. I mean, it's a nice apartment. I don't know how well. I don't want. I think they're trying to distance the whole Batman comparison, so I think they're going to scale down that he's a rich guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think. So, point being, Stephen Grant, I think, is what we're starting off with here, and I think we're in London. I think the idea is, I'd be really impressive if one of the personalities is English and the rest of them aren't.
Yeah.
So that's what I like to think is going on.
It threw me off because Oscar Isaac, I don't know if he's ever like. I'm sure there's sometimes he's done a British accent, but it is not his go-to for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, point being, we have Steve Grant here, who again, presumably a personality that does not know that he is a personality. He just thinks, why do I keep hearing? Why am I hearing like these voices? Why? Basically, he thinks he's like hallucinating and going crazy with insomnia, when in reality he can't tell the difference between waking life and the dreams, because he's thinking of other people's thoughts in his head.
So what I'm digging about the vibe of this trailer, just like the opening with him, struggling with the sleeping and everything, is I'm kind of digging that we're getting Moon Knight is the figure of Moon Knight kind of played in almost sort of like a horror movie sort of fashion.
Yeah, I mean, for example, like
right here, you see he's tethered. No.
You see he's tethered.
Super Billy. Okay, hold on, Dragon. Super Billy says Isaacs played King John in Ridley Scott's awful Robin Hood. Oh God.
Well, there you go.
Oh, Super Billy. I often make fun of that movie. I believe like the big trailer line for that movie with the freaking like epic manly Robin Hood is Robin Hood just shouting like, "I was born to be an outlaw." Oh God, that movie was ridiculous. Anyways, but yeah, I almost kind of get a vague Nightmare on Elm Street type of vibe with the whole him struggling to stay awake, and then like the Moon Knight figure kind of showing up in the shadows. And obviously Moon Knight isn't going to be evil, but there does seem to be like an air of moral ambiguity with him at the very least that I'm excited for.
Well, I like this detail that he's tethered himself to the bed because he's afraid of perhaps he might have been sleepwalking, a little bit of almost like a symbiote kind of thing going on there, where like his body's being used when he's not conscious.
Sure.
I kind of like that, but so that's the thing. So Moon Knight, I'd like to think, and again, not an expert here. I know one of the personalities is called Mr. Knight. I'm assuming Mr. Knight is Moon Knight. That's a guess.
Mr. Knight.
Yeah, there's one.
I hope it's Moon Knight's butler or something.
Okay, regardless, the fact I'd like to assume any way you slice it, Moon Knight is kind of the thing they all the personalities have in common, very obviously. But I like to think that's the tether between all the personalities. Like that's kind of like the, what do you call them? Split, like the room, the light, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I think Moon Knight is kind of the equivalent to the light, and that he's the kind of like the dwelling. He's the physical. That's the thing. So Moon Knight, I think, is just kind of the symbol of all of this builds to something. It's all for a reason. All right, so but you're right, though. There's an intimidation factor because Moon Knight is supposed to be edgy, and again, traditionally the idea is it's Batman, but he actually is full on crazy, and you get to see that. But here we're kind of approaching a more of a we've redefined what crazy is these days. Like DID, does that mean you're guys can go around the night beating people up? It's not exactly what it means anymore.
That guy says. Moon Knight, Mr. Knight is actually played by Tom Hardy and is actually Venom.
So, I mean, this is also the main reason why I think we're, other than the fact he's talking to other Brits, I think the double-decker bus to me is the getaway. That's a double-decker bus, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, it's definitely somewhere in the UK at the very least.
Okay, I like this. I like that he's in the Egyptian wing of a museum, which of course very on brand. And that's so again, the big sell is you don't know if he's just imagining the origin of Moon Knight, or if the origin is real. Like at a certain point, Moon Knight was just a guy in a costume, and then they delved into, okay, there are supernatural elements at play. Like, is it all imagined or not? So my concern going into this show is, it's kind of hard to adapt a character who's defined by ambiguity, as we've often found. So I wonder if they were going to go full tilt with that. And this trailer definitely seems like, okay, yeah, we're playing. We're not skimming past the DID of it all, man. We're
You know what would be crazy?
Yeah.
Is if they brought in John Barenthal Punisher.
Barenthal, yeah.
I mean, that would be another, like, because they've been doing that, they've been slowly introducing the Marvel Netflix folks back into the fold. So,
well, I mean, I
feel like Punisher would be a good fit for this.
You're not wrong. I'm leaning more towards, because I heard that theory that Charlie Cox will be popping up in pretty much all the Disney Plus series until he gets his own. I like to think that perhaps he would show up in lieu of the Punisher. But you're right, though. The Punisher would be on brand for Moon Knight. I'm saying, honestly, Daredevil in full costume and the Punisher would be on brand for Moon Knight. This would be the place to do them.
Sure.
All
okay, right, really quick, I'm going to address some comments here, Dragon.
Right.
Ooh, that's a cool shot to pause on if you can get to
it. I know,
it.
I'm working. I usually read.
I'm sorry. That's a hard task. My bad.
There we go.
There we go. Awesome. That's a really cool shot. Anyways.
Yep. All right, go on. What you got?
Super Billy says, psychological thriller horror superhero series. Hopefully it's more successfully transcends the MCU formula than, say, Eternals. I think it will. I think this kind of like knows the world that it's playing with, and at the same time it knows the risks that it wants to take. Like Eternals, I feel like Chloe Zhao was kind of like a fish out of water in that movie. It's like, if that movie was just a Chloe Zhao weird art house superhero movie that didn't have attachments to the MCU, I feel like people would feel better about it moderately. ?
I mean, in terms of
that guy says, I think at least for the first couple episodes, they'll play with whether the supernatural stuff is real.
Yeah.
Then we have John Kelling here. Hey, John Kelling. Happy to see you. He says, people, perhaps they'll add Finn Jones's Iron Fist and everyone will scream in anger. Oh, God, could you imagine?
See, that's it. Tiki, speaking of this Moon Knight is basically the successful version of doing that really long extended arc of Iron Fist season 1. Remember the whole thing? Wait, is Danny Rand remember they commit him in the asylum and everything?
Sure, yeah.
Basically, this Moon Knight is the actual way you tell that story, essentially. Instead of like, why are we doing this with Iron Fist? Why are we doing so much doubt of who he is?
Right, exactly. It's like guys, I'm pretty sure this guy is on the level. I don't really think
we don't need 3 episodes to prove that Danny Rand is who he says he is.
Right.
Whether this guy is like an actual, was actually revived by an ancient Egyptian moon god, that I believe we need more evidence of. That I believe. So, by the way, so with the Eternals question, because they kind of broached on some stuff like you'd have in Moon Knight, but again, the problem is that's you have to fraction into like a bajillion characters, which is why it didn't really get developed that much. We're opposed to this. Where the whole focus is on essentially the Angelina Jolie character, if you were to use an example. What if we actually develop time to that character, in this case, far better.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really what should have been the series, honestly.
What?
Eternals.
Oh, you mean it's basically dedicating specific...
I'm saying that concept feels like it's tailor-made for a series.
Oh, yeah, sure. Especially
with all the characters and they could play around with the actual timeline and actually have a structure with the flashbacks instead of just doing it willy-nilly whenever they feel like.
For all we know, each character could have gotten an episode,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, what could have been.
Yep. Also, just to kind of comment on, we're going to see it better later on. This is the shot everyone was saying, "Oh, look at the leak shot. Look at how cool he looks in this little mirror shot here." Yeah, this is suit looks really good. I gotta be honest. I'm digging this. Some people think the hood should be give a little more of a shadow on the face, but it looks great. I think I like.
Yeah, I'm digging the look of the suit so far. Yeah.
Here's the cool thing. I've seen it. Seriously, Moon Knight. The appeal to me with Moon Knight, I never fully dived into it, but I was always tempted because Moon Knight has an awesome costume.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that with this kind of bringing the live action, they've added a mummy look to it, which I think is a really cool idea. Give him an Egyptian mummy.
It is very mummy-esque. Yeah, you're right.
Especially the way he suits up later. It's exactly like the mummy. It's awesome.
It looks like a super mummy, says John Kelling.
Yeah, last time I saw a super mummy, honestly, a super mummy, you're not going to care at all about this, Tiki, but real quick.
The only mummy I care about, Dragon, is the Aqua Teen mummy.
Well, no, I'm getting as Ben 10 way back in the day, before it got all complicated and stuff. Ben 10. they added a bunch of cool new aliens. There was like a horror theme to them. So you had like a wolf man, you had a Frankenstein, you had a mummy, and you had a ghost. And the point being, they all had like these really cool monster designs. You had a really awesome looking superhero mummy. It's the last time I saw something like that. So it was like, just cool to kind of see a mummy kind of reinterpreted in a cool way.
All right.
Anyway.
Super Billy says it's Mummy Spawn.
Yeah, which now that's the thing. There are, depending on how they adapt the origin, the whole like the Egyptian god thing. There is definitely a Spawn comparison, and the costume definitely lends itself a little bit to a Spawn comparison, especially with how he suits up. I just
think with the grittiness and the
yeah.
The concept in general, I feel like just tonally it's very Spawn-like. So
it's
kind of hard to avoid that comparison.
That's what I'm saying. Honestly. It's gonna be unavoidable. But plus the fact that he was kind of like Spawn, he was kind of like a mercenary as well. He was like a CIA guy who became a mercenary. So I wonder how much of the core origin, like right now, again, it seems like if I'm a betting man, we're gonna be episode 1's gonna be the Steve personality, who's then gonna learn about who he is, and then probably episode 2 or 3 is gonna be a flashback to the actual origin, or however long they're gonna take with that. So that when we do that flashback, however we do that, or the personality remembers, that'll be a question of like, okay, are we going full on? Because I think there are some things of that Moon Knight thing. I don't know if the enemy that created him was called Bushman. I don't know if that's going to stand up. I don't know if that's going to stand up well today. I don't know. So we'll see.
All right.
So okay, here's okay. This is important to you. So look at this guy here. Life and Dreams. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the Egyptian god that in the comic. So that's the one that basically. So Mark Spector, he saved this archaeologist and his daughter. So he tried to save this archaeologist and his daughter. The archaeologist's father got killed, and the daughter was saved, and that became like his main supporting character, I suppose. Bear in mind, not an expert, but he was revived by this Egyptian moon god, who I believe, I'm going to butcher the way this name's pronounced, I'm sure, Khonshu, I believe the god's name is. Khonshu is this creature right here. So whether this is real or not, he could be imagining it. Entirely possible.
I just really love the design of it.
Yeah, it has like the cool kind of beak-like kind of thing here, and you'll notice a bit of that mummy look, which again, I'm assuming the Moon Knight costume drawing a lot of kind of almost like a Shazam effect, where again, the old sorcerer, the visual kind of the whole.
And again, this whole thing is very Spawn-like, with like the supernatural being kind of like being the liaison with the hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Of course, just the panic here of like, what the heck is going on? And little old lady. So I mean, what about how do you feel? Your impressions of Mark Spector, or I guess Steven in this case? I'm like, I'm gonna feel for this guy's plight. That's the vibe I'm getting in this trailer.
Yeah, I feel like that contact lens moment was a good moment of like, okay, like we're still in the MCU, we still have that kind of tone of humor, even if it's getting a little bit darker.
I'm just saying, I feel for this guy who's just way in over his head and just piecing together what the heck is happening. There's like a Memento vibe with it,
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of which, again, this is the visual. I like how we're directing this so far, just based on the trailer, because I love you see like we're visualizing the multiple personality thing really well. We have like at least 2 other reflections here that aren't moving as he moves in the Egyptian exhibit.
Yeah.
And again, this one time, there's the Memento thing at play here, where he finds like clues from probably other personalities or Moon Knight himself, like the burner phone in the car.
Honestly, if they do use Memento as like an inspiration, I mean, I'm sure they're not going to do the whole like, oh, we're going to tell the story backwards type thing. But, just kind of like having the mystery, like, the mystery box elements of the show kind of like be in between like what he knows and what the other personalities know and what we as an audience know. I feel like that could be really fun.
I think we're definitely using kind of like Memento as a mold for like how to lay out an origin story, which is an interesting way to do it. That's the vibe I'm getting here, because again, this phone, basically as he's on the phone call right now, it said this Layla character. So it's one of 2 things. I think what we're doing is just renaming the archaeologist girl I just mentioned, who's from the origin. He's going to loop him in on what's going on because she knows that his name's Mark Spector. So I'm assuming she's the girl from the origin, just renamed. But there is a Moon Knight character called Lila, or either that or Layla spelled wrong, or maybe the subtitles goofed up. I don't know. So Layla was actually kind of a crime figure that Moon Knight had to deal with, which again, if we're trying to bridge into some more Kingpin stuff, could do it through Layla. I'm just saying.
All right, so really quick, I want to get to some comments here. Let's see. That guy says, "Sir, You have a bird mask on at 1 a.m. Please, can we just do this later? I don't even have my coffee yet. Super Billy says it's funny how in this trailer no one seems to pick up on the fact that he's clearly disturbed and could use medical attention. Don't they have free healthcare in the UK? I believe they do. I know they have free healthcare in Canada. I believe it's in the UK too.
It's either free or really cheap.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like there's a lot of potential throughout the first episode for people to kind of slowly be like, hey, like, what the hell's going on with you? You know, it's like, this is only a 2-minute trailer for the whole series. So I definitely think we could get some people, you know, catching on to the fact that he's a little out of sorts.
Yeah, sure. Also, so this whole, oh my God, you're alive, that implies to me it's the girl from the origin, because it sounds like we're laying out here. It's probably like a month or so after it just happened, because again, he seemingly died when basically, when they met, he seemingly died, and then he was just miraculously found by that moon god. At least that's the way he's told the story goes. So it's a question of, last time, oh my God, you saved me, and I never saw you again. I saw you were alive. How are you alive? Again, probably close to, I'm thinking this is close to after he just got his powers and his whole shtick.
Okay, let's see. Tom B says, let's hope Moon Knight doesn't do a spice run with the X-Wing. I'm sorry, the Tom Beast. I don't quite get that reference.
Well, I don't know. Are you sure he meant X-Wing? Because I know he meant the Spice Run. He's probably referring to Solo, but wait, no, he's referring to Poe Dameron.
Okay, duh.
Yeah, right. That's what that is.
Super Billy says there's a character in the Marvel Comics named Layla Miller who's a mutant.
Okay, well, there's that.
Canada is too comic booky of a concept to work in the MCU. Well, the one thing I want in Canada is the Hulk versus Wolverine fight, man. I want to see that on screen at some point.
Also, Canada gives us Deadpool.
True. Right.
Okay, so... Okay, why did you call me Mark? And anyway, here's where your music's coming into play. Okay, now this guy here, this is our bad guy. This is the Ethan Hawke character as Arthur Harrow.
Yeah, I really like this guy's look so far. I really like that. Literally, the first shot we see of him, he's got like some sort of cult around him.
Yeah, so I mean, I did a very cursory look on this guy, so I still know really nothing about him. I don't know if he'd ever developed any powers, because here it seems either there's a cult-like following, like you're saying. Which, I mean, I'm kind of hoping that's the case, but I don't know if it's like a power of like a persuasion or what. I don't think this guy had powers in the comics. I don't know. It might be a change, whatever. But the point being,
he could be just a very persuasive personality.
That's the thing. I wonder if we're going like any iota of like maybe like a Kilgrave effect going on here or not. But anyway, slice it. This guy, all I can tell you is that this guy's basically tried to heal himself, and that's why he was after Moon Knight. So either as a scientist or
Super Billy says, "Love that the villain of the show is essentially Jim Jones," and yeah, I agree. That's kind of what I want to see from him. I don't want them to go the supernatural route with him.
Sure. Regardless, I think he might be trying to pursue the supernatural in Moon Knight's healing abilities, or basically the thing that brought him, like his ties to the Egyptian god, some way, shape, or form. He's after him for some reason. We don't know what. I'm assuming like to try to do what happened to him. Like I want to be. I'm seen as a god. I want actual god power.
I could see that.
Yeah, it's a guess, mind you. But again, he seems like to know what's going on here. The voices in your head. So it sounds like he's done research on what the heck happened to this guy. So he's been after him. It's again nice and like kicking the mirror. Kick that mirror. Yeah. There's chaos in you. And again, I like that we're putting him in white. We
definitely get some Oscar Isaac freak out moments, which he is really good at.
I like the white aesthetic, which is refreshing. And again, I think honestly, visually, I think this thing has a good chance of really making itself distinct from a lot of the MCU stuff with like the usage of white. The color scheme. So this is.
I agree. I feel like it's going to fit into the MCU, but feel distinct. I feel like they have just enough MCU flavor to where it's not going to feel out of place.
Hey, guys in the comments, tell me if you had this. Do you think that this guy in the back here could possibly be the Ethan Hawke character with facial hair? Because in the comic, that character had like a beard that looked almost exactly like this. And I'm wondering if this could be in the past.
I don't know. That looks pretty different from
Ethan
how we've
Hawke.
seen Ethan Hawke so far.
All right, that's fair. I'm just because it's so blurry, I can't say one way or another. It's kind of driving me nuts when I did that like minor deal. Like, wait a minute, they kind of the beard and everything. Anyway. But yeah, honestly though, this sequence though does make me really excited, Tiki, because this is like the memento cell of it here. Like, imagine if you're Moon Knight and you're in the middle of an action sequence, and then you switch personalities in the middle of that sequence. Like, how the heck did I get here? Why do I have a gun? Who's that guy? Did I shoot him? Why am I suddenly falling?
Oh God.
That's
By the way,
saying.
I like this editing trick where it kind of fools you into thinking he's falling off the pyramid just by cutting to the pyramid.
Yeah.
That's some solid editing manipulation right there.
Of course. So, by the way, again, to your best case scenario, this could be a way of, again, Disney Plus really making their Netflix mark on things. Like, yeah, we're building our own, our own Marvel Netflix and going like kind of like the Marvel Knights direction almost. We're swinging for it.
Dragon, do you know anything about the character of Black Knight? Because the people in the comments are kind of theorizing about him.
Okay, so this is the cool thing, Tiki. So speaking of Eternals, honestly, to me, the important part of Eternals, at the end, it was like, hey, Blade was in it, but off screen, but he was there. And more so, Blade was talking to Black Knight. So Black Knight is the Kit Harington character.
Oh, okay, got it.
Now, basically what they seem to be building up, and I assume Moon Knight's going to fit into the fold of that. And I think there's a team where he commiserated with Blade on. So that's probably where people are referring to while they're bringing up Black Knight. Is the fact that the kind of the horror supernatural branch of the MCU. I assume that's what we're building between, like, hey, we're doing Black Knight with Kit Harington, who's either going to pop up in Moon Knight or this Werewolf by Night Halloween special they're doing, which could. I'm sorry, I'm throwing a lot at you. What I know simply is that Moon Knight spun off from this comic called Werewolf by Night, which is a character who is getting a Halloween special this year. Okay, so I think it's this year. Because I know Guardians is this year. I think they're doing all the holiday specials this year. Anyway. Point being, you have all your horror-based Marvel characters that are starting to come out of the woodworks, and they're probably building to a crossover, either all in Blade or just starting, but Blade will be the big tipping point from where you're going to do things with all these characters, like your Moon Knights and your Werewolf by Nights and your Black Knight, yeah. A lot of knights. I'm just kind of noticing a lot of knights.
And then, of course, you have the Blades and the Ghost Riders of the world.
Exactly.
Too, so,
the Ghost Rider enters the fray. I'm sure the Ghost Rider is probably what they're ultimately building to be the show they're going to do all of this in, probably.
All right. I'm just going to read off some comments really quick, Dragon. Hold on. Let's see. We got hold on, sorry. You guys are going too fast for me. Oh my God.
I like that when he's running here, it looks a little bit like a crescent pattern in the floor. It's the Moon Knight symbol.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Super Billy says looks like a random goo, maybe Robert Downey Jr.'s body double getting more work.
Yeah.
That guy, he says, I'm personally excited for the Mark investigates element. I love whenever superhero characters actually do investigations and detective stuff. Yeah, totally. I do hope there's like a mystery box element to this show. I really do.
He's got to find out who he is and what the deal is. I mean, he's got, at the very least, we know he's going to follow up on who that lady who called him on the phone is. So I'm sure he's going to learn some stuff.
Oh, God. Atomic Beast says, since No Way Home introduced the multiverse, imagine Oscar Isaac's characters, Moon Knight and Apocalypse, encountering each other.
Yep, also, there's a third. You have 2099 Spider-Man.
Oh, God.
Can you again? I'm still speculating. Part 2 of Spider-Verse is going to mold all the Spider-Man stuff together so it can be in the MCU. So by that logic, you technically, I mean, there's no rule that they have to get the animated, the voices to be them in live action because that'd be hard, obviously. But can you imagine if you did get like a Nick Cage as Spider-Man Noir and you got Oscar Isaacs as 2099?
Yeah,
honestly, he'd be perfect for 2099 Spider-Man. Like, that's not Peter Parker. That's a different guy altogether. You could it's Miguel O'Hara. You could get him to play that guy.
All right. Let's see. John Kelling's very excited about Werewolf by Night. And I believe that's about it. We can keep going.
All right. So then we have our money shot here where, look at those bandages one time, but there's the mummy thing. I guess once he's in harmony, perhaps this happens. I forget if Moon Knight's... Here's the thing. Again, I'm more familiar with the bear vigilante side of Moon Knight, so I don't know when they eventually embrace the whole supernatural thing and like when this happens. I wonder if like the moon, when a full moon's out, when this happens or not. If that's the case, that might be a little limiting. I'm speculating, just given like it's at nighttime when this happens. I could be. I'm probably reading too much into it, but he is bathed in moonlight right there. That's mainly what I'm getting at with this. Just an aesthetic thing. Of course, now here's something we know a little bit more about then, because we saw this is what they were kind of building to, where he's in the bathroom. This is basically the big Netflixy shot with
totally.
Logan beating. We thought he was beating some poor thug up. Now, well, probably not poor thug. Probably did something bad. Anyway, it's not a thug at all, because this is a creature he's beating up. If you notice,
Dragon Super Billy poses that. Hopefully, the scene involves Moon Knight immediately obliterating Apocalypse. Can you imagine?
I don't know if Moon Knight's strong enough to do that. It'd be funny though. Watch that. Regardless, so anyway, this creature here. This is again, it's not a guy. It's a creature.
Hey, we got a Mutali here. He says it's Anubis.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, yeah. I thought there was something kind of like. For a moment, I thought it was it didn't make any sense why I discounted. Like, I thought it was the Egyptian god with the bird nose, because there's kind of like a snout-looking thing here. But the Anubis makes a lot more sense. Why would he beat up the god that, hey, you gave me these powers? But he was a little resentful of him. Anyway, the point is beating that guy up, or Anubis up, and then we have, look at it in all its glory. Looks great.
Yeah, it does look really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then I love the he's almost kind of like replay that one. Yeah, the over the moon thing. It's almost kind of like a Tinkerbell thing.
Yeah, well, again, especially when we do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, seriously, honestly, I really wanted to find a better version of this shot, honestly, for like the root, if we could have, but we ended up with work. But still, this is like, because that's great.
Disney.
And Mark Spector jumped over the moon. Yeah, and that's it.
Okay. Okay, really quickly, do you think the show will be where they introduce vampires? Yeah, I'm hoping. I hope this show is maybe I would love to see one of either Blade or Ghost Rider make an appearance in this show, because those are the two big supernatural characters. Obviously, Blade is a little bit more likely since Ghost Rider hasn't been cast yet. I mean, imagine if fucking Nick Cage Ghost Rider came up. That would be crazy. But
now, here's the thing we got to bear in mind, though, with that, is that so far the handicap to the Disney Plus series have been, so far it's been kind of like either there's been not enough episodes to do all that sort of stuff with. And now we are going to jam some characters in there, I'm sure. And I don't know, honestly, I think Werewolf by Night's probably what we're going to do the vampire stuff in. But I mean, Ghost Rider, if we do a Ghost Rider, my instinct is to think post-credit scene at the end of the season, if we're going to do something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's a question of how much can we fit in without getting in the way of this Mark Spector of this Moon Knight story, where you have at least 4 personalities that juggle.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
You got a lot of personalities to juggle and possibly develop. And I'm not saying they're even going to do 4 personalities. I'm sure, based on the images we've seen with that mirror shot, there's at least 2 personalities. 3, sorry, let me rephrase that. There's at least 3 personalities and Moon Knight. So it's a bare minimum you have 3 people and then the costume guy. So that's still a lot.
Okay, that guy says, do we know how many episodes this show will have? Do you know, Dragon?
I mean, I don't know officially. I'm just ballparking with what we've gotten so far, which could probably be at minimum 6. At most, I imagine 8. The only time we've broken that mold was with WandaVision with 9. It was supposed to be 10, though. So that's the thing. We haven't quite broken the 10 mold. I think Moon Knight probably could use 10, but that's...
You tell he's the 6.
That's what I'm saying. It's probably going to be 6.
Let's see. Super Billy says the show will hint at the supernatural, and Blade will serve as the full-on introduction.
I think that is an accurate. That's an accurate prediction to me. If you're lucky, I'm sure Werewolf by now will probably tee up some of the stuff too. You got to remember.
Oh, right, and Norman Reedus has been hinted as Ghost Rider, which I don't know, man. If you do Norman Reedus, he's basically just going to play Daryl Dixon again, so I'm not sure I'm totally down for
There's also
that.
the question of which Ghost Rider, because there are a couple. I assume Johnny Blaze, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would assume Johnny Blaze too. Yeah,
because we've already done it. If we make him the one with the car, I think. I don't want to. I know there's like a couple of them. There's Johnny Blaze. There's Danny Ketch. Now I know this guy.
well, if it's Norman Reedus, it'd absolutely be Johnny Blaze because his whole thing is motorcycles.
I know that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think of there's the one from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. whose name I'm blanking on right now. Like that's God darn it. Anyway, the one with the car. Anyway, yeah. Regardless of speaking of that, though, I do want to mention a connection you might have with Ghost Rider. At the very least, just some of the other Marvel stuff. Multiverse of Madness does have a big tie to the supernatural with the not the sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong because Sam Raimi's directing. I'm thinking Necronomicon, but no, the Darkhold, the Darkhold that we established in WandaVision. So that's going to be in there as well. So that the Darkhold could be a connect as well to the supernatural. And we have name dropped vampires already in the Disney Plus show. So we're inching closer and closer to more of the supernatural. And this will be a big bridge to that.
All right. Well, I think we should pretty much sign off at this point. I think all of the comments have been addressed by now.
Okay.
You got any final thoughts, Dragon?
Again, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm hoping it turns out well. I mean, for the very least, Gulliver is going to be so dejected if this thing bombs.
Oh my God, I don't think it's going to bomb. I think with Oscar Isaacs and and Ethan Hawke, I think it's got an all-star team. I don't. There's no way it can bomb.
Sure. Well, regardless, I'm looking forward to it. I'm rooting for it to perhaps be like the dawn of like the new kind of like perhaps like Disney Plus's kind of version of the Netflix Renaissance. Wouldn't that be swell? They have their own Daredevil, and yet She-Hulk is your Jessica Jones equivalent. Then you have and there's more, and it could be really something special and something cool.
If 2022 could be the year of like the real like Marvel and Netflix integration into the MCU, that would be a 2022 well spent, I think.
That's what I'm saying. Like these are the shows that we wanted to be in Marvel Netflix that we weren't able to get that we're finally getting.
Exactly.
Yeah. She-Hulk and Moon Knight are the ones. I mean, for me, it's She-Hulk, but for Gulliver, it's absolutely Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm rooting for it.
So I got to shout out Donovan Martin, that guy, John Kelling, Super Billy, Ed Mutali. Oh my God, so many people in the comments tonight. Y'all rock. I'm so happy to have this small but very loyal and consistent fan base. I'd much rather have just a few people like you guys than just like the ravenous vulturous fans that a lot of people have. So I'm very happy with where the channel is now. Just gotta throw that out there. Let's see. We'll for sure be covering Book of Boba Fett on. I don't want to make any promises. Just stay tuned for exciting stuff. Appreciate you all. Have a good night. See you later.
Mark Spector jumped over the moon.